In this presentation, we're going to be looking at 5 important questions, and here they are. First, we'll look at what's the best domain name. Should you include SEO keywords in your domain name? Should you build your own website or use a web designer? We'll look at what's the best web design tool. And finally, how do you choose a web designer? So let's start with domain names. And the first point to bear in mind is that domain names are really important. And despite their importance, they're actually very cheap, and they're very quick and easy to register. You don't need to have some kind of paperwork or anything like that. They're issued on a first come, first served basis. And what I would say in terms of getting the best domain name, always try to get a domain name where the .com domain is available, and then get the local country equivalent. So for example, if you're in the UK, you'd probably want to get a .co.uk and a .com domain name. And really what you're doing, even if you don't use the .com domain, and there are other types of domain name, you can get sort of industry ones like say .bike or .photography or whatever. If you're registering several domain names to take them off the market, that's a good move because you'll avoid what's known as domain squatting, and that's where someone purchases a domain name and then they try to sell it back to you at an inflated price. They're basically holding it ransom. You don't want to get into that situation, and believe you me, it does happen. We speak quite often to customers who have this exact problem. So I would always recommend get the .com, take it off the market even if you're not going to use it. And also your domain name, it can be different from your registered company name. You don't have to think that you're constrained. I've got, my company XYZ limited, that you have to have mycompanyxyz.com or .co.uk. You can be flexible with your domain names. But what I would say is that shorter domain names and ones that don't have complex spelling, you don't want to make people think about it. They're the best ones. And also I would avoid, if possible, using hyphens as well, because people can misplace them or leave them out altogether. So try to take that into account. If you get several domain names, you can just set up what's called domain parking. If you have the .co.uk as the main domain name for your website and you've got the .com as a secondary one, then what you can do is just park the .com domain. If someone types that in by mistake, they'll be taken straight to the .co.uk website. Domain parking takes about 5 seconds to set up through your web hosting control panel. If you're using, for example, cPanel, you can log in and you'll see there's a domain parking option there. So another point about domain names, and often people will ask me this question, is should I be including my keywords in my domain name? And you're probably thinking, whoa, hold on a minute, what keywords? Well, when you go to Google, do a quick search in there if you're looking for a particular service, those are keywords. And sometimes people will think, well, if I include those keywords in my domain name, then that'll help my Google ranking. I'm going to get a higher position in the search engines. I'll get more clicks, more traffic. I'm going to get more customers. And there is evidence that including keywords in domain names can help, but it's you need to it comes with a health warning, I'd say. So let's look at an example. Let's say that we've got an electrician, so bobtheelectrician.com. That could be fine. Now Bob's maybe based down in Exeter. He could probably get away with something bobtheelectrician.exeter.co.uk. maybe that wouldn't be such a bad option. It's starting to sound a little bit on the edge, but then definitely if you were to go for something like low cost registered electrician in Exeter, Devon, Cornwall.co.uk, that is pure 100% spam. You're just trying to game the search engines. You're trying to trick Google into giving you traffic for electricians and cover all sorts of different keywords combinations that people would type in. So don't go mad on this one. Don't